Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Magduit and we're here again with another tutorial video. This is another one of those long form tutorial videos, so if you want to skip around, feel free. I'll try and edit this down to be as palatable as possible. But yeah, what are we looking at today? Well, today we're looking at Harmor because Harmor's awesome and I want to stay in FL Studio for a little while longer. So yeah, we're still in FL. Harmor's great. There's a lot of cool resources out there. I know Glorklunk has a really great tutorial on how to use this synth. I found some other really nice tutorials as well. If you look up how to use Harmor, like the first tutorial series that I found was really great. But today we're doing something a little bit different. So today we're going to be looking at how to first establish your own custom single cycle waveforms and how you can really kind of explore that, as well as then using those waveforms to create really complex sounds utilizing AI images. I know a couple weeks back, or a couple videos back rather, I made a video on Serum and using AI images to make wavetables in Serum. So this is kind of a piggyback off of that video. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into how we can use Harmor to make some cool sound. To start off, I have set up the default preset here. We have saw wave and a square wave in the top left here. We can mix between the two and fade in between which one we like better or both. But I want to kind of go a little bit more complex. Don't get me wrong, saw waves and square waves sound awesome, but I think the better route is to have a slight variation to that, or maybe find your own single cycle waveforms. Now, what I have done is found my own. You can click on this and draw in your own shapes if you so choose. So as you can see here, as I draw stuff in, it's gonna mess with this waveform up here. But what we want to do is we want to find some, because it's a little bit easier to do that. We can also make our own. You can zoom in on any wave file that you have and just use the single cycle of that waveform and then just drag and drop this wave file into this section here. But there's also a lot of really great online banks of wave files that you can also use. One that I have been using for a long time now is the Adventure Kid waveform sample pack, and it's free. You can donate to them, which I highly recommend you do as well if you feel like you have the cash. But yeah, it's free, so you don't technically have to buy them, and they are really fun to use. So let's first go ahead and visit that that pack here. Now, this pack has a bunch of different synths that it references. We have like an Akai MPC, we've got Alchemy from Camel Audio, there's like an Electron model, there's Music Line Protractor Surge, which is I believe Surge XT. You have UHE Zebra. There's a lot of different ones. But yeah, so you know, as you can see down here, you can see the waveforms. You know, there's a lot of different single cycles, and we can kind of scroll through and find one that we really like. I'm gonna actually go to the Surge ones because I know that there's some really cool square wave ones in here. Yeah, I think this is the one, and we'll lower it an octave here. Yeah, that's a vibe. All right, so yeah, as you can see, you can really quickly get like a super unique timbre of your actual oscillator, which I think is great. And we can even do stuff like protect the fundamental frequency, which doesn't matter quite yet, but when we do image stuff, it will. So let's just close out of this so we can actually see what's going on here. So I've got three different things open right now. I have a spectrum and then a oscilloscope, just to kind of see what's going on here. And then this is kind of like the spectrum, but it's actually the data inside of Harmor. So this is kind of showing us the actual audio, but this is just the data itself inside of Harmor, which is pretty cool because from my understanding from the tutorial series that I watched, Harmor does something that a lot of synths don't do, and that is it converts things into data first from the manipulation aspect of the sound, and then converts that into audio rather than converting whatever it is into audio and then manipulating the audio to create whatever kind of sound you want. There's still aspects of it that do that, like the effects section and things like that, but most of the stuff inside of Harmor is actually manipulating those data points, not the sound, which I think is kind of fascinating. So let me go on to the next section of this video, and that is using images to sort of shape the sound and maybe get some mud pies out of it. Okay, so I have switched over here. I'm switching over from the envelope to the image tab, and I've got my folder open. I'm just going to actually show you all. I'm using the Wavetables Volume 1 Sample Pack Processed Images folder here. And I'm just going to be dragging in a lot of these images and using them as the kind of fundamental sound that we're going to be overlaying with these wave shapes. So We obviously have the wave shape being this oscillator here up in the top left, and we're going to be basically overlaying that with whatever picture we drag in here. So let's go ahead and try this. Let me see here. Which one of these do we want to do? Maybe this one here we'll try. So all you got to do is just click and drag it. I'm just going to be doing that from this other monitor here. Click and drag it into this section here, and as you can see, the image pops up. We can increase the speed at which this travels. And you can actually even do it on like a coarse amount. And you can see how fun this can be. Let's maybe explore a couple other sounds before we get into the mud pie part of this. And yeah, they just sound so crazy. So, yeah, after you drag in your image, I would say the first thing that I usually adjust is the speed. I kind of get it to a point where I like, the reactiveness of what it is that I'm dragging in. And then after that, I will usually adjust the scale. So what ends up happening there is you're essentially deciding kind of what frequency is the root note. A lot of times I'll get higher frequencies, so I'll usually bring this down so that way you get more of like a subby sort of bassy feel. And you can see how now another cool thing that you can do is you can actually adjust the start phase. Which I think is great. And you can see how instantly this is just getting nuts. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's other things we can do, but I'm gonna, like, we can add phasers to this, we can add filters to this. I'm gonna mainly just focus on creating mud pies, just doing these two things for today. But in the future, I'll probably make another video talking about how we can even process this sound even further. But yeah, so how do I record the mud pies? Well, inside of FL Studio, we have a great tool called Edison. And Edison is a really fun tool that essentially, it's a sampler that's just really fun to use because of its ability to sample things based off of if audio is going into it or not. So we can switch the, how long does it record for to forever. And then we can go down here, we can switch on input to input. And what that's going to do is it's only going to record if it detects audio signal. And then after the audio signal is gone, it's going to just stop the recording or pause the recording right there. And then obviously it'll pick up where, it left off when it hears more audio. The reason why this is helpful is because you can kind of condense your audio wave, samples, the mud pie sample, into a much shorter and more concise piece of audio, which I find makes it a lot easier to work with. So yeah, let's go back over to our Harmor here. And yeah, so we've got a cool sound. And it's recording, that just got recorded into Edison. Oh, well, it should have. I'm glad we checked this. Yeah, always make sure you hit this little record button. Otherwise, it won't be recording. So yeah, make sure you have that turned on. And now when we play this, we can switch back over here and you can see it recorded that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get a couple of different styles of sound. And also just keep in mind that we're trying to keep it all in the same root note. The one thing to keep in mind is when you are messing with the scale, you're actually going to be changing, I think it's this scale here, the frequency pixel scale. You are changing the frequency. So this kind of a mud pie is really hard to zero in on when it comes to a fundamental frequency unless you leave this where it is the whole time. But I don't think it matters too much as far as like how or what frequency these sounds are in, because whenever we are done with this mud pie, and I will make another video on this in the future, They're always processed afterwards. I would say this kind of a mud pie is the most raw form of a mud pie you can get. And then after you get these sounds, you can go back and, add a sub to it, or, add a bunch of post processing to make it sound even cooler. I feel like that's always worth doing with these specific kinds of mud pies. But I wanted to show you all what you can get out of this synth, and with very little work as well. So, yeah. And you can see how you can even adjust the time. There's like so many things you can do to make it interesting. Let's maybe drag in another picture here. Maybe another one. And you can see how it's very easy. You just keep dragging in different images. Keep in mind, all these are made with AI, so the idea here is you can just grab like as many images as you possibly want or it can handle doing in a single mud pie session, and the possibilities are just endless. Keep in mind as well, we can also go back and maybe change the waveform. So let's maybe find another wave shape here. And we can also drag in another image. Whoops. And yeah, you can get like such a really, I love this. You can just get some wild timbres. Now, I'll hit y'all with the knowledge. We can go one last step further, and that is we can add a phaser. So inside of Harmor, we can actually make custom phaser wave shape, or custom phaser shapes, rather. And that custom shape is so freaking fun. I love the custom phaser wave shape, or I keep saying wave shape, but you know what I mean. The custom phaser shape, it's so cool because you can basically drag in kind of whatever you really want here. And yeah, we're recording all of that. So because of the recording process, we now have this long-ish waveform that we can then take into another project and manipulate and have fun with. So yeah, I'm just gonna actually save this. Let me just go to let me just move this out of the way by double clicking it here. There we go. Let's go ahead and save the sample as, and then we'll go to my disorganized samples, and we'll go to the AI image stuff, and we'll just make this mud pie number 2. And yeah, so yeah, I've just been having a lot of fun with this. I'm gonna keep doing this. I highly recommend that everyone out there who has FL Studio or Harmor, depending on whether or not you're able to buy it for third party or not, I would recommend exploring this and just seeing what you can come up with. Because yeah, if you have Stable Diffusion set up, or if you just have any AI art stuff at all, when it comes to image stuff, yeah, this is super fun. I guess in theory you can also just use any images you want. I mean, it doesn't have to be AI. I just find that the AI images are wacky. You can just get some really almost symmetrical images at times. Like if you drag stuff in that looks really cool, it usually sounds really cool. And I think that's probably my favorite reason. I love it so much. Anyway, enough of me having fun. Go out there, explore Harmor, have fun. make sure you check out that waveform sample pack from Adventure Kid. It's called the Adventure Kid waveform sample pack, and it's free. And yeah, I think that's it for this video. It wasn't too long, but it was one that I wanted to get out there and show you all how much fun this can be, and to just start making sounds, because there's no excuse anymore, everyone. There's no excuse. You got to make your own sounds. I mean, come on. It's fun. I mean, look at this. How silly is this? I'm literally just dragging in images and just letting the bar just do this, and it's just epic sounds. I mean, come on. Like, how fun is that? So, yeah, if you have FL Studio, you have no excuse. So, with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Hopefully you guys had a great week and or day. And yeah, I guess that's it for today. Don't forget to keep making music. Peace.